Thanks for checking out this highlight from Epic Loot Radio. If you want to see the full podcast after the highlight, just check the top link in the description for more. It's important to talk about it. It's like, obviously Outriders is something all of us are excited about. That's actually how I found, or Rory found me. It's just like, hey, let's talk about Outriders. It's like, I see you're covering it. Like, yeah. And actually, one of the comments that I was really like surprised by at first, but happy about, is that a lot of people commenting that they're so happy to see the community, especially the content creator community, already working together as we've reached out like to Vulcan. Congrats to Vulcan becoming a dad. That's like immensely exciting. And so he said that he's definitely wants to come on the podcast. Like, just that, I was like, yeah, it's about celebration of these games and things like that. So hopefully, same call out to anybody. Like, if there's content creators, the best way you can help is tell me who they are. Like, the YouTube algorithm is not going to do that. Like, and so if you find somebody that you like, and, just, let me know who they are. I'd love to be able to talk with different creators about, games in that case. I think that's what makes podcasting so fun. But I want to shift us right now briefly into talking a little bit what happened in Outriders this week. Not much, but the demo is the 25th, so our countdown has begun. And last week was Legendary Armor Week. And so we saw some set pieces. We've got gear set bonuses. We see some stats. We see some mods. Like my heart is just ready. And and this week
we didn't get on that min-max.
Well, like not yet. Like I'll min-maxing, I'll let people have fun with their maxes. I just want to sit here and just I love getting the idea, seeing what's happening. But we've got some stuff here. Like they released gloves today, so we'll talk about the gloves. If there's anything that stood out to you guys, for me, it's all about the mods, and I think that the mods that they show off for at least for the Technomancer, made it sound so much better. Like, I felt like something was missing from the set last week, and then you have a couple of mods here that just make it sing. Guys, anything stand out to you guys about the legendary armor? We had Chaos on last week, so Rory, I'd love to get your thoughts on what's your expectation for Outriders right now.
In terms of this armor, this is the first time that I'm actually looking at it. Looks interestingly enough. But it's like, my thing about the armor is that you're going to be able to scrap the armor, from what I understand, and get like these mods and apply them to different armor. Mm-hmm. So my thing is actually the min-maxing, like figuring out the quirky builds that you can kind of do around them, where like you get a specific legendary item and then you're like, okay, I really like this mod. Then you get the other mod from another legendary item. And in reality, you don't want either of the legendary items. You just want the third item for the stats and bring the mods in for the third item. That is going to be something that I personally am going to spend a lot of time doing. And the stuff that we're watching on screen right now and the research that I've done on the game, it looks like that is going to be a big part of the gameplay experience. It's all going to be about how generous the loot is going to be. Like, is this going to be a case of, like at the start of Anthem, we just talked about Anthem previously, the loot knob was like turned all the way down, and then they made a glitch and they turned it all the way up, and then they're like, no, that was a mistake, and then they turned it back all the way down again. It's like, that is something I definitely don't want to see, right? I want to see the loot figured out, at least to a certain extent, at the beginning of the experience, so that it's not like we're farming for hours and hours and hours and nothing drops. It doesn't have to be like a loot pinata every time,
right? But
I want to be able to get rewarded
meaningful progression.
Pace. Yeah, meaningful progression.
So, I mean, like, not to to rehash like my critique of Anthem, but it's like, I'm happy we're bringing PSO Radio into Epic Loot Radio, because Phantasy Star Online is always kind of this, like, it is in my mind, the pinnacle, even if it might not be your visual style, and the current version 2 is a little bit older, but it always had meaningful progression. You had the loot, sometimes pinatas, but you could do things with that loot, even if it wasn't like an upgrade. Oh, I'm going to take that, break it down, and I'm going to enhance the gear that I've got. And so, like, where Anthem, like, where I was like enjoying Anthem, and all of a sudden that enjoyment went down, was like, I love XP. XP gives me that meaningful progression. It's that set. I go to work, I get my check. I go to work, I go play. Like, I know what I agree to the terms. The terms are given out, and there's not anything more. There's not anything less. The pinatas are the bonuses. The loot drops are the bonuses. And what Anthem did was it said, hey, we're going to stop paying you for your time, and you're only going to maybe get bonuses. And then we would go to work, and then Chaos would just get every freaking legendary, and I never see anything drop. Yeah, that's right, him flexing. And it's like, wait a minute, like, what are we doing here? Like, am I doing something wrong? And it just sets up a bad, kind of structure. And with Outriders, you take that loot, you can take the mods out, you collect your mods, they don't go away. So there is that chase there from a horizontal progression perspective, but then you can take that stuff, upgrade your weapons, upgrade your loot, do so many more things with it so that even if you aren't getting the drop that you were chasing, there are perks and things like that. They can help increase your odds, as a part of your talents tree. Like if you're really chasing shotguns or something, you have some flexibility there, but you can still have this other meta game that allows you to kind of say, hey, I got some drops. They weren't really for me, but that's okay because I needed to break them down in the first place because they got some mods that I needed or something like that, which is, I think that in and of itself, you got to have that balance, it doesn't, and that's just where I'm thinking on it. What do you think, Chaos?
I think in terms of loot, it just needs to be balanced correctly. I don't think they should like completely explode it because then you're just going to have an inventory problem. But I think it should be a progressive thing that just feeds you enough to keep you excited that whatever you kill is going to be providing you with that new shiny, because that's what we all play for, right? We're looking for that next new shiny, the next new weapon, the next new piece of armor, the next new piece of gear that's going to make us that bit more OP. And if you're going through a drought of not getting absolutely nothing, your entertainment value goes from here all the way down to here because you're just sitting there looking at that guy over there. Look at all that new shiny garment he's got on, all that shiny shields and everything. You're just still there with your bronze armor and like, what about me? So it needs to be balanced right. And I think as long as they get the loot economy correct, I think it's well on its way. I mean, the stats and the mods clearly show that they're going to give us the power fantasy. So the last hurdle is the actual loot economy and making sure we get the right amount of loot, because there is a thing of getting too much loot. And for the love of God, once I get to a certain tier level, auto deconstruct the crappy stuff that no one ever wants. No one wants commons or rares when you're in World Tier 10. So auto deconstruct those. And
as long as this deconstruction feeds into some, it doesn't have to be major progression, but just minor progression.
Well, they're materials, right, for your upgrading, because you can upgrade your weapons, you can upgrade your armor stats in terms of like just individual stats. So being able to take them up even rarity tiers requires materials. So there's always a reason and use for those materials. So it's never a complete waste. Everything has a purpose from what we've seen so far, from what they've shown.
I hope that you really enjoyed that highlight, and I hope that you check out the full podcast. Again, link is in the description. Thanks for being here, and hope you have a fantastic day, you wonderful, beautiful individual.